An NFL quarterback that I love has retired. Ryan Fitzpatrick is done in the NFL. After 17 years and being a part of 9 NFL teams, he was with the Rams, Cincinnati, Buffalo, Tennessee, Houston, the Jets, the Buccaneers, the Dolphins, and Washington. 9 NFL teams, 17 years. Ryan Fitzpatrick's time in the NFL has come to an end. He announced his retirement. And I will say it's kind of interesting. The longest amount of time he was with any team in the NFL was the 4 years he spent with the Buffalo Bills. He was from 2009, 10, 11, all the way until 2012. He spent 4 years in Buffalo. And every other team he was with, he was there for only 2 years or even less. Pretty crazy that somehow he made it to 19 years in the NFL 17 years in the NFL with 9 different franchises. That's ridiculous. And as we look at his career and his legacy, first of all, certainly the best year of his career was in 2015 with the New York Jets. He was throwing to Brandon Marshall in his prime. He had Eric Decker, Sheldon Richardson on that defensive line. The Jets at that period, by the way, I think they were coached by Todd Bowles. Their secondary had Antonio Cromartie and Darrelle Revis on the same football team on opposite sides of the field guarding receivers. That is unbelievable. And that 2015 season, he threw for 3,905 yards, 31 touchdown passes, 15 interceptions. The team went 10-6. That was a good year. And the next year in 2016 with the Jets, they were not as good. He had 12 touchdowns and 17 interceptions, took a step backward. The team did as well. And it's just kind of sad. I'm like, his noteworthy best year didn't have much payoff. It's like, it's just kind of sad. And all in all, Ryan Fitzpatrick's career numbers are he threw for 34,990 yards, 223 touchdowns, 169 interceptions. Nice. And I think, I hope that what's remembered about Ryan Fitzpatrick is, and there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about here, but first of all, that he was a 7th round pick in 2005 out of Harvard. He monumentally exceeded any expectation of him coming into the NFL. Think of how many people like Ryan Fitzpatrick are a 7th round pick out of a tiny school, and they never do anything in the NFL. Not only did this guy hang around for a long time, he put up a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns, won certainly a decent amount of games, and even though Ryan Fitzpatrick is not one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, certainly you got to respect and admire the career he had, especially when you look at the context of where he came from. Here's another cool thing. Spottrack.com, a great website. Check it out if you want, if you're interested in NFL salaries and the way players are paid, yada, yada. Spottrack.com estimated that Ryan Fitzpatrick's career earnings were a little over $82 million. Good for the man from Harvard. That's pretty dang cool. And I don't know, man. I love it. Fitz was known for his beard. He was really funny. Look up Ryan Fitzpatrick funniest moments. He's hilarious in interviews and talking to teammates and on the sideline. And he got this nickname, Fitzmagic, during a 3-game stretch to start the 2018 season when he was playing with Tampa. He played 3 games against New Orleans, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh, and he threw for over 1,200 yards, over 1,200 yards and some change, and 11 touchdown passes. It was unbelievable. It was like 400-yard game after 400-yard game, just shredding teams and throwing a ton of touchdowns. And I think it's kind of sad to me that the last 3 teams Ryan Fitzpatrick played on, Tampa, Miami, and Washington. Here's a story of how things went down. In Tampa, they always had Jameis Winston. The quarterback they picked with the number 1 overall pick, who they really wanted to be their franchise quarterback. And then in Miami, a second to last team, they had Tua, a quarterback they picked in the top 5, and Miami is still hoping that Tua can be their guy. But if it was ever close, they were gonna give the opportunity to Tua because they were invested in Tua. And the politics of the quarterback position often hurt Ryan Fitzpatrick. There were usually more attractive options at quarterback that teams were more invested in. And guys that probably got more of a real shot than Ryan Fitzpatrick. Tampa had Jameis. Tua was in Miami. Then last year in Washington, he finally had a team behind him. A playoff team, the Washington football team, who really was only missing a quarterback, called in Ryan Fitzpatrick to be their guy. They had a good defense, a coach I like, Ron Rivera, a stud receiver, Terry McLaurin. I was so excited to see what could possibly go down. Like, hey, this could be the year that finally a team believes in Ryan Fitzpatrick, he gets support, and he reaches his potential as a quarterback. And then in game one, he got hurt and didn't play the rest of the year. And I just want to say that we never really got to see Ryan Fitzpatrick on a truly good team that also wanted him to be their quarterback. I thought he had a great roster around him in Tampa. But he was on a really short leash because the team ultimately was hoping that Jameis Winston would be their guy. And I will always wonder what could have been, what would have been if he had been on a team that wanted him and built around him. Because I'm not saying Ryan Fitzpatrick would have been the greatest quarterback of all time or anything like that. But I will always believe he was capable of more than we saw, and he never really quite got a team to fully invest in him, and that makes me disappointed. So Ryan Fitzpatrick, you had a great career. Thank you for the years of entertainment. I hope he has a great rest of his life, enjoying being a dad, and I would love to see Ryan Fitzpatrick around football again. I think he'd be an interesting mind to, whether he wants to do a podcast or analyze games. He went to Harvard. He's very intelligent. Maybe he'll coach football someday. I don't know. But that's a guy who knows the game really well and I think could do something if he wanted to with some kind of post-playing career in the game of football.